Welcome to the first episode of Murder, Mystery and Mayhem's Whodunit series. Please note that the background images are clips from old movies to fill out the characters, but the stories are original, written by me and therefore protected under copyright law. Any download, redistribution or copy of the story is prohibited by law. You are, however, more than welcome to share this video on your social media sites for fun. Think you can guess which of the suspects is the killer or killers? The truth will be revealed in a second video, which I'll upload in a few days to allow time for everyone to watch. So let's begin. The double cross. Vince the Boss Bellini was the head of the Philadelphia branch of Chicago's Candela crime family, whose income started with protection rackets and illegal gambling and grew into political murder for hire. Bellini gained his position in the family as a shrewd businessman whose loyalty was proven when he discovered a member was plotting to take over and ambushed the man in his home, shooting him and his entire family down. The man's wife was Bellini's own sister, the boys, his nephews. Too busy with work in his younger years, Bellini recently courted and married nightclub dancer Pearl LeBlanc, over 20 years younger than himself. Pearl was a looker, and she knew it. Never afraid to use her God-given talents to get what she wanted, she used them to snare the older Bellini, securing a lifestyle she believed she was entitled to. Unfortunately, the narcissistic Pearl found it difficult to resist the admiration of men and would often engage in steamy affairs. The men were either very brave or ignorant of her husband's status. Bellini seemed to be the only family member oblivious to Pearl's hobby. Among the Level 1 members were Tony Moretti. Tony was recruited in his teens as a runner, someone who would pick up a package from the supplier and deliver it to the buyer. Becoming known as Cadillac Tony because of his love for the finer things in life, Moretti was up for any assignment and moved through the ranks to become a main player. He was also pilfering cash and sleeping with Pearl. Joe the Batter Angelini gained the nickname because his weapon of choice was a baseball bat, which he would use to bludgeon his victims to death. He and Cadillac Tony were the best of friends, and Joe would often turn a blind eye to some of Tony's indiscretions. Louis DeVore was Bellini's right-hand man and an object of Pearl's desires. His father ran a dry cleaning business that was a front for one of the mob's illegal gambling houses. Unfortunately, the older DeVore was shot dead during a police raid, and Bellini took the son, then just 17, under his wing. DeVore proved to be ruthless and ambitious. He would guard Bellini with his life, but he had a violent streak and a penchant for brothel girls. When combined, a brothel owner would often have a mess to clean up and an unfortunate girl to nurse back from a beating. Unable to go to the police, the owners complained to Bellini, who would compensate with cash. It disgusted Bellini, but in order to keep it contained, he offered brothel madam Annie Devereaux protection and big bucks to keep quiet and deal with the consequences. DeVore was confined to frequenting Devereaux's establishment only. James O'Dwyer was a drunk. Once a respected lawyer, he turned to the bottle when his wife succumbed to cancer and his only daughter, Maggie, started getting into trouble and eventually ran away from home. He never saw her again and later learned that she had died. His long, lonely days were filled looking at the bottom of a whiskey glass and working for anyone who would retain him. He'd heard of a case involving Louis Devore, who'd been charged with the suspicious death of a brewery owner. A witness testified they'd heard gunshots and saw Devore leave the brewery and speed off in a waiting car. Imagine O'Dwyer's surprise when he offered his services pro bono and was retained by none other than Vincent Bellini. Bellini really had little interest in saving Devore, who was becoming a thorn in his side. Even he had begun to notice his wife's interest in him. And a corrupt cop on Bellini's payroll had to help cover up the death of a young brothel worker who died as a result of one of his beatings. The same cop later brought him news of the murder of Annie Devereaux, the brothel's owner. He was already grooming Eddie Ballantyne to take over from Devore. Ballantyne hated Devore for stepping on him on his way to the top. He wouldn't miss him. Bellini knew Devore would not rat about the brewery owner, and a long prison stint was a way for Bellini to be rid of Devore and the problems he brought with him. He chose O'Dwyer as the least likely candidate to represent him. But he was to be disappointed. O'Dwyer actually convinced the jury, and Devore was acquitted. To celebrate his freedom, Devore once again went out to engage in his favourite pastime, the brothel. Before he could even make it inside, he was attacked, choked and beaten to death. But who was the attacker? Almost everyone had motive to be rid of Devore. He was a thorn in the old man's side. He'd even uncovered the affair between Pearl and Cadillac Tony. Detectives interviewed everyone. Vince Bellini said, "Why would I kill Louis? He was my right hand." Cadillac Tony said, "I'd never hurt one of my own family." Pearl LeBlanc said, "I loved Louis. He didn't return my feelings, but I'll always love him." Joey the Batter said, "Why would I kill him? I really had nothing to do with him." James O'Dwyer said, "I was his attorney. I got him acquitted of a murder charge. Why would I kill him?" Eddie Ballantyne said, "I barely knew the guy." Have you worked out who the killer was? If you think you know, leave a comment below and let me know who you think it was and why. I'll upload the final reveal in a few days so you'll know if you're right. Good luck, detectives.